Hello, welcome to this lecture on gravity dams. Okay, to in last lecture we had talked about various types of forces acting on a gravity dam, modes of failures, and etc. Today we talk about the how to calculate these various forces and how to ensure the design is good or not. We'll do one numerical on that also. Okay, these are the various forces. For that, today we'll do the calculations. Okay, this is pressure diagram, this is heel, toe. This is very important diagram. You should remember this if you want to be expert in gravity dam design. Okay, these are the various modes of failures. Okay, any dam can be failed either by overturning, by crushing, or by development of tension causing ultimate failure by pressure. Okay, then shear failure or sliding failures. Let's talk about one by one on this. This is all about overturning failure. Overturning is nothing but rotation of a dam either about the toe or about the heel. This is your toe. Where is toe? This is toe and this is heel. If your leg will place like this, here is your heel and here is your toe. Okay, so this is we are talking about overturning. Practically such a condition shall not arise as the dam will fail much earlier by compression. Okay, so this is not very necessary, but still we learn how to design uh, a gravity dam against the overturning failure. Then sliding. Okay, then sliding failure or shear failure will occur when the net horizontal force above the any place in the dam or at the base of the dam exceeds the frictional resistance development at that level. So for that, what we do, summation of H horizontal forces should be less than the friction internal resistance developed in the any plane. So this should be greater than or equal to 1, and it is a factor of safety against sliding failure or shear failure. Okay, then their compression occurs due to direct stresses and also bending stresses. Direct stresses for unit length will become summation of V divided by base width, and the bending stresses standard formula M upon I into Y. Here M is total moment and I is moment of inertia, Y is the distance of neutral axis. Okay, so here at finally you will get this formula P maximum upon P minimum is this one. Bending stresses may be either compression type or tension type, so it is plus or minus. If we use plus, we'll get the maximum direct stress. If we use minus, we'll get the minimum direct stress. Okay, so this is the shear force diagram. Okay, here the summation of total vertical force and the horizontal force, and this is resultant. If resultant force is towards the toe side, failure will occur on this side. If resultant will on hill side, failure will occur on hill side. It means shear stress will become maximum at heel side. Okay, this is, you can see here also, resultant is this side, so maximum stress will occur on this side, and we will compute the stress at heel position. This will occur on empty reservoir condition, and this will happen in full reservoir condition. Okay, so these are the two cases and the two resultant. This is about, you can pause your video and read this. This is a little very important things about tension failure, how tension failure converts into a compression failure, and how this will this in this diagram you can see that here one crack is developed at 8 prime due to tension, and this reduces this portion, and hence the compressive stress becomes higher, and then that becomes higher than the allowable stress in concrete. So this failure is due to tension, but it is a compression failure. Okay, this is, so for that how much eccentricity we can allow to ensure that no crack will develop at any place in the dam. So we calculate this P minimum should be 0. We almost consider that tension should be almost equal to 0. Although we allow around 500 kilonewton per meter square maximum allowable tension stress can be taken as 500 kilonewton per meter square, but for the computation we use it 0, and from that E equals to eccentricity comes out to be b by 6, and that is the most famous result of middle third rule, that says that the resultant must lie within the middle third. Okay. Then sliding failure, this is external force applied and this vertical force, and for that vertical force this is downward friction. This downward friction should always be higher than the external force. So what we do, some mu into summation v should higher than the sigma h, this greater than this. This is factor of safety against sliding, so this is known as factor of safety against sliding. Okay, so in this way you can do this. If there are high dam, then there must be joints, so joints also affects the failure for sliding. So then SFF becomes mu into summation v plus b into q. Q is the average shear strength of the joint in high dams. Okay, on large higher than that. You can pause your video and study this. This is the formula for principal stresses. This finite element is considered on each and every plane. Load and stress is computed. Okay, from that we can get this formula sigma to be maximum for direct stress formula. Okay, we'll use it on calculation. Okay, sigma. Okay, now this is the numerical. Today we are going to solve this. This is the typical sketch. You just draw it on your copy or plain paper. Okay, we will first calculate all the forces acting on the dam, then we check this for overturning, and then we calculate the maximum vertical stresses at heel and toe, reservoir full condition also, and reservoir empty condition also, then intensity of shear stress for slide shear failure. Okay, let's do one by one. This is the typical sketch which the all calculation has been shown. You do yourself this calculation, very simple calculation. This is water pressure diagram, this is uplift pressure diagram, these are the weight of the dam, vertical downwards, these are the horizontal forces. Uplift pressure is direction is at upward forces, uplift pressure is acting on upward direction, water pressure is acting on horizontal direction towards the dam also, and in upstream side, and towards the dam on downstream side also. Okay, there are two types of water pressure acting, upstream and tailwater pressure, upstream water pressure and tailwater pressure. Then uplift pressure and the weight. Okay, only this. How many forces? 1, 2 and 3 types of forces, 4 forces for weight of the dam also. So let's this is shown in one table. This table there are 4 forces: vertical forces and horizontal forces. In vertical forces, downward weight of the dam, weight of the water on downstream side. This water also contributes in the weight of the dam portion. Okay, mind it. So it is coming in vertical force, the downward weight of the dam, weight of the water downstream, and uplift pressure. This is also vertical force, but it is in negative. It is upward side, so we mark it as negative. And then horizontal water pressure, what is this? On upstream face, this water pressure; on downstream face, this minus tailwater pressure. Okay, due to tailwater level. Okay. Now how to calculate this magnitude? Let's talk about one by one. This is W1. This is W1. So how you calculate this W1? This is W1. You just calculate this volume and multiply it with the density of concrete. You will get the W1. Let's see. What is the height of this? This is level 4 meter here, 80 meter here, so it is 84 meter. Okay, 84 meter height, and 84 meter height, and width is 6 meter width. So how you calculate 6 meter width, 84 meter height, unit length, and this is density of concrete. It comes out to be 11,844 kilonewton square. And then lever arm, this force will act. We are talking in reservoir full conditions, so lever arm we calculate from toe from here. So this force will act at the center of this line. So this is comes out to be, this is 50 meter up to here, and at mid 54 meter. Okay, so this comes out to be 54 meter, 53 meter. Where is 53? How it comes out to be 53? Let me check again. Oh, this is 6 meter, so it is 53 meter, not 8 meter. It is 6 meter only, na. So 3 meter, and up to here it is 50. So 53 meter is the center of this W1. Okay, similarly W2 is a triangular portion. Okay, so half width is 50 meter, height is 75 meter, length is 1 meter. So this is volume, this is density of concrete 23.5. It comes out to be 440.063 kilonewton. Okay, lever arm distance, where it will act, this W2 will act, again it is a triangular. This will act at CG will be somewhere here, and it is h by 3 from here. So from here it comes out to be 33 meter. Okay, 33 meter. How? From this toe, 33.33 meter. It is 50 meter. Okay, and it is from 2h by 3 distance from here. So h by 3 from vertical, h by 3 here 16.67. This is 33.33. So this is lever arm. This lever arm is 33.3. Multiply this, you will get the moment. Okay, moment about the toe. The weight of the water, tail end water level is 4 meter height, 4 meter weight, and the 6 meter height. Tail water level, is it 6 meter height? So this pressure is gamma h. Gamma is this gamma h. So this is become 58.9. Okay, so this gamma h will be this 6 into 4, half of this triangle area, and this density of concrete, you will get the 118. So this is all vertical force acting on the gravity. Summation B, you calculate summation moment. You just multiply this with this, you will get the moment. You add all this will be, you get summation F. Similarly, you can calculate the uplift pressure also. Uplift pressure is divided in 4 areas: U1, U2, U3, and U4. Now let's see what is U1, U2, and U3, U4. This is U1. This portion area is U1. You just calculate the area of this portion, and from where it is acting. It is acting at CG. You just measure this distance or calculate this distance. This is lever arm. This is U2. This is a triangular. Okay. Again U4. This is triangular, and this strip up to here is U3. Okay, up to here. This is U3. Let's talk about one by one. U1, U2, U3. U1. This is H, length 8 meter up to drainage galley. Okay. And this is one length. This is this half. This is triangular. Uplift pressure. This comes out to be this U2. Then U3. It is rectangular. Length into width. You will get this area. Multiplied by this lever arm, you will get the negative moment. Negative moment means it is upward movement. It is overturning movement. So it is negative. Summation B, summation M2. Okay. Then horizontal water pressure on upstream face, P and P dash. P is acting at h by 3 height in upstream side, and P prime is on left side on downstream side towards the dam. So this is negative horizontal force. This is positive horizontal force. This is minus from this 837 minus 354. You will get the net horizontal force and the moment about the toe. Okay, finally maximum vertical stress at toe will be like this. This one is maximum vertical stress. Okay, then we can compute the major principal stress by using this formula. Okay, and then intensity of shear stress you can get, this is less than this 2500, but it is greater than the shear, so it will fail due to shear failure also. Okay, thank you. I stop here. You just do it with yourself, this problem.